how can you believe in somebody that you don't know?
Now I'm stepping into my purpose. Everything else is worthless. Now that I'm living the promise.
What's up guys, how are you doing? I hope you're doing really well. If this is your first time here, my name is Latoya and this is Dual Purpose. Today is the first video in the Girl Chat series. I'm so excited for today's video. Today I'll be giving you 5 tips plus a bonus tip as well of how you can start to believe in yourself. We live in an age where it's so easy to believe in everybody else and to celebrate everybody else that sometimes we forget to learn how to believe in ourselves and to celebrate ourselves. In today's video, I'll be sharing with you some of my own story, as well as some of the stories of the young ladies that I have the privilege of working with. And I hope that by the end of this video, you will learn how to believe in yourself and begin to take steps towards becoming the best you that you can be. Make sure you keep watching to the end so that you don't miss the bonus tip that I have for you today. Tip number 5 is to change your outlook. I remember being about 13 or 14 years old, and the church that we attended at the time, when it was offering time, you would walk down the middle aisle, put your offering in the basket and walk back to your seat. And I absolutely hated it because by that point I had lost so much confidence in myself. The negative opinions of other people had begun to fester in my mind, and I began to believe some of the things that they were saying, even though I knew they weren't true. So when it was offering time, I would walk with my head down all the way to the offering basket and my head down all the way back to my seat. And I never forget one Sunday, a lady in the church approached me and she said, "Young lady, let this be the last Sunday I see you walking with your head down. When you walk, hold your head up high." She said, "If you have to imagine an object somewhere in the distance and as you're walking, you stare at that object, then that's what you do." And I really took that on board and I began to imagine an object somewhere in the distance. And as I was walking, I would just keep my mind and my eyes fixed on this point in the distance. And it really worked. It really helped me to walk with my head up high. And it got to a point where I didn't need to imagine this object in the distance anymore because it just became second nature for me to walk with my head held up high. For you, maybe it's not about physically holding your head up. It could be about mentally holding your head up, reprogramming your mind to think differently. You know, as I was walking with my head down, all I could see was the floor. There was nothing inspirational about that at all. But when you hold your head up high, you can see where you are, you can see where you're trying to get to, and you can see your surroundings. And as I said, for you, it may not be physically holding your head up, but it could be about mentally holding your head up. Change your outlook. Have a look around. Find inspiration from the beauty in this world that God has created and the beauty in the things and people around you. Surround yourself with positive people. I cannot stress how important this is. In my personal life, I have had to learn to love some people from a distance, and for other people, I've had to completely cut them out of my life, and it's not always easy. But a few years ago, I made a promise to myself that I was going to do whatever I needed to do to protect my peace. And I found that some of the people that were in my life were toxic for my growth. It was just a negative environment that I didn't need to be in. So I had to learn who I could have around me, who was going to inspire me, who was going to help me to grow in my Christian walk and in life in general. And I had to learn that some of the other people, I just had to keep them at a distance, and other people, I had to completely cut them out of my life. And as I said, it's not always easy, but definitely tip number 4 from me is so important. Surround yourself with positive people. Take stock of your environment, the people that you have allowed in your environment, and decide whether or not they're going to help you to be the best you that you can be. And if they're not, then you have a decision that you have to make. Tip number 3 is similar to number 4, and it's be careful what you take in. That could be what you listen to, what you watch, what you read. It amazes me how much information our brain actually processes, and we don't realize how much information our brain stores subconsciously. I mean, how many times have you found yourself singing a song and you're thinking, where did I even hear that song? And you realize it was maybe an advert that you listened to the day before, or it was a shop that you went into and they were playing a particular song, and a week later you find yourself singing this song. Your brain processes information at speeds that you will never understand. And your brain stores information, so much information that you don't even realize. So for me, it's very important, and this is number 3 from me, be very careful and intentional about what you take in. Tip number 2 is to set goals and take steps towards achieving those goals. So one of the things that I have the privilege of doing is to work with young ladies and help them with their Christian walk as well as life in general. And this year, one of the things that I've done with them is I've asked each of them to set 3 goals that they will achieve over the summer holidays. So from the time they ended school to the time that they go back to school, they needed to achieve these 3 goals. And the reason I did that is because when you set yourself a goal and you achieve it, you begin to believe in yourself. For example, if your goal is that you want to learn how to cook a particular meal and you manage to do that and your family say, girl, that meal tasted so good, do the same again next Sunday. You begin to believe in yourself because a few weeks ago, you didn't know how to cook that meal. Now you've done it and you set yourself another goal and you set yourself another goal. And as you begin to achieve each of these goals, you begin to believe in yourself because you know that you have now accomplished something that seemed impossible just a short time ago. So one of the things that I would definitely encourage you to do to believe in yourself is to set goals and achieve them. And as you achieve them, you begin to believe in your talents, you begin to believe in your gifts, and you begin to believe in you. Tip number 1 is probably the most important of the 5 tips that I've given you so far. But don't forget, there is a bonus tip coming up as well. Tip number 1 is discover who you are. How can you believe in somebody that you don't know? It goes without saying. Okay, if you have a best friend, let's say your best friend is called Latoya. And I say to you, do you believe in your best friend? Chances are you're going to say yes. Well, hopefully you'll say yes. If I ask you, there's a woman walking down the street doing her shopping and I say, do you believe in that woman? Chances are you'll say no because you do not know her. How can you believe in somebody that you don't know? And a part of life is discovering who you are. And it's actually a process, it's a journey. And you will learn that you will have to discover who you are at 16, discover who you are at 21, at 30, and you continually grow, develop, and change. And you have to keep going back through this process of discovering who am I in this current phase of my life. But it's so important. You've got to learn your strengths, your weaknesses, your areas where you need help and support. And all of those things make up who you are. And this goes hand in hand with tip number 2 as well about setting goals, because as you challenge yourself and you overcome these challenges, you will learn something new about yourself and that will help you to discover who you are. And all of these tips really all do go hand in hand. And the bonus tip from me is to never compare yourself to other people. Again, I cannot stress this point enough. You know, sometimes I hear people say things like, oh, but she did this, this, and this by the time that she was 21. Well, praise the Lord for that, sister. But that is not your journey. Bless God for her journey. But you have got to stay focused on your path, the path that God has for you, because I have seen so many people live their lives trying to imitate other people. And it's such a shame because you're climbing this ladder. And when you get to the top, you realize, I've just wasted 20, 30, 40 years of my life trying to be somebody that I was never created to be. What a waste of life. So please never compare yourself to other people. Run your race with all of your passion. Discover your purpose. Discover who you are and what you're supposed to be doing in this life. So there you have it from me, all of the 6 tips. I hope that you found these useful and that you'll implement these tips and become the best you that you can be. I believe in you, and I know that one day if you keep going, you will begin to believe in yourself as well. Thank you for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Bye.